excited to see each of you here tonight in spite of a storm warning. You reveal that you are determined to go on anyhow. Something is happening in Memphis. Something is happening in our world. And you know, if I were standing at the beginning of time with the possibility of taking a kind of general and panoramic view of the whole human history up to now, and the Almighty said to me, "Martin Luther King, which age would you like to live in?" I would take my mental flight by Egypt and see God's children in their magnificent trek out of the dark dungeons of Egypt, across the Red Sea, and through the wilderness and on toward the Promised Land. But in spite of its magnificence, I wouldn't stop there. I would move on to Greece and take my mind to Mount Olympus and see Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Euripides, Aristophanes assembled around the Parthenon. And I would watch them around the Parthenon discuss the great and eternal issues of reality. But I wouldn't stop there. I would even go to the great heyday of the Roman Empire and see the various developments around there through emperors and leaders. But I wouldn't stop there. I would even come up to the day of the Renaissance and get a quick picture of all that the Renaissance did for the cultural and aesthetic life of man. But I wouldn't stop there. I would even go by the way that the man for whom I am named had his habitat, and watch Martin Luther as he tacked his 95 Theses on the door at the church in Wittenberg. But I wouldn't stop there. I would even go on up to 1863 and watch a vacillating president by the name of Abraham Lincoln finally come to the conclusion that he had to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. But I wouldn't stop there. I would even go up to the early 30s and see a man grappling with the problems of the bankruptcy of his nation and come with an eloquent cry that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. But I wouldn't stop there. Strangely enough, I would turn to the Almighty and say, "If you allow me to live just a few years into the second half of the 20th century, I will be happy." Now that's a strange statement to make because the world is all messed up. The nation is sick. There's trouble in the land, confusion all around. That's a strange statement. But I know, somehow, that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. And I see God working in this half of the 20th century in a way that men in some strange way are responding. Something is happening in our world. The masses of people are rising up. And wherever they are gathered today, whether they are in Johannesburg, South Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, Accra, Ghana, New York City, Atlanta, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, or Memphis, Tennessee, the cry is always the same. We want to be free. If something isn't done, and done in a hurry, to help the colored peoples of the world move out of their long years of poverty, their long years of hurt and neglect, the whole world is doomed. Now I'm just happy that God has allowed me to live in this period to see what is unfolding. All we say to America is, be true to what you said on paper. So let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. Let us move on in these powerful days, these days of challenge to make America what it ought to be. And I want to thank God once again for allowing me to be here with you. I left Atlanta this morning, and as we got on the plane, there were 6 of us. The pilot said over the public address system, "We are sorry for the delays, but we have Dr. Martin Luther King on the plane." And to be sure that all of the bags were checked, and to be sure that nothing would be wrong on the plane, we had to check out everything carefully. And then I got into Memphis, and some began to say the threats, to talk about the threats that were out. What would happen to me from some of our sick white brothers? Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But that doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop, and I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the Promised Land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the Promised Land. And so I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.